Hello, distance learners. It is Thursday, April 30th. To help you take your notes, I would suggest titling this page here 9.3a, Changing Data Points. Now, up until this lesson, most of the information on mean, median, mode, and range has been a review, right? You have done this since maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grades here. Today is where we're going to kind of change the gear and get into the new material. This is actually going to be a high priority benchmark. Essentially, think in your head if you've ever asked the question, like before you've taken a test or maybe before a sporting event, what score do I need to get a A in the class? Okay, let's say you have a B right now. What score do you need to get an A in the class total? That's the kind of questions that we're going to be asking today. Now, let's do a little bit. We are going to describe the impact inserting or deleting a data point has on the measures of central tendency. Now, as a review, this is just looking at the effect on data points, okay? A stem and leaf plot, remember, what we have to recognize is this 2 right there does not actually represent a 2. It represents a 32. Okay, and that's what this key here is describing. All right, the column on the left, the 2, 3, and 4 there, represents the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, and all of the numbers on the side, those leaves, those are our ones places. So it's 27, 28, 28, 31, 31, 32, 32, 34, 35, 36, 36, 37, 38, 38, 39, 39, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, we want to know which of the following values could be added in to make the median 36. Okay? So, there may be more than one answer that could make the median 36. So we're going to have to try all of these numbers. Okay. Now, first off, let's take a look and determine what is the current median. Okay. So the biggest number here would be the 45 and the 27 and so on and so forth until we get to the middle. So let's keep working. And now the 9 and the 2, the 4. So we have gotten to 36 and 37. Right in between those two is 36.5. So that is our current median. Now, we want to change it to 36. Okay? Now, the reason that this one is 36.5, which is not one of the numbers in the actual set of data, was because it landed on 2 data points. Okay? The nice thing about this one is one of our data points is the median that we want it to make. Okay? So essentially, what we're trying to do here on this problem is get another number that will cancel this 37 out. Okay, so if I added, let's say, a 37 or a 41, if I added a 37, then I would have to cross that 7 off and that 6, and the 7 would become, or the 37 would become the new mean. Okay, so that's not going to work. We don't want to do that. If we did, let's say 41 is our new number that we add in. If I added in another 41, that one would cross off, and again, that would cancel out that 36. And so again, our 37 would become the new median. So we don't want to add in a new value that is higher than the current median. We want to add in a value that is lower than the current median. if I added in a 36 here, that 36 would cancel out that 37, and boom, we would end up with 36 in the middle. So 36 would be a value that would change our current median down to 36. Let's check our 29. If I added a 29, 29 would go right here. That would mean that that 9 would be canceling out a number like that 7, that 37, and we would end up with 36. So essentially, we could add in anything smaller. Well, we would have to add in something at most 36. Anything smaller. Anything smaller would work. 36, 35, anything smaller than 36 would work. Okay? Now, taking a look at the next one. It says the current mean is 36. Which score would affect the mean the most if taken out? 27 or 45? Okay? So, if the current mean is 36, that means when you add all of these numbers up and then you divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, you get 36. So if we take the sum of all of those numbers and divide that by 22, we get 36. Now, instead of actually right now going and adding 27 plus 28 plus 28 plus 31 plus 31 plus 22 and so on and so forth, what we could do is think backwards in that equation that's there. I want to go back to the original sum. Well, if we look at our formula here, we have a one-step equation. That is, a number divided by 22 equals 36. To get back to that number, we can multiply both sides by 22. And 36 times 22 gives us that the sum of the current amount of the current score is 792. Okay, that is our current sum. Now, this problem is going to have two different situations. We're taking out either 27 or 45. So, if we take out 27, the problem would look like this. We currently have 792 points. If we take away 27, we would have 765 points. Then, to find that average, we would have to divide that by no longer 22 because we took one data point out. We would have to divide by 21. So that number divided by 21 gives us 36.4, and I'm going to round it to 43 because it was 4285, and that would round to 36.43. Now, let's take a look. So this increased by 0.43 or 4285. Okay. Now, if we take out 45, we're still doing the same thing. We're taking that 792, we're subtracting 45, 792 minus 45, that gives us 747. And then we still have to divide that by 21. This number is 35.57 0.14, and it would round to 35.57. Okay, this is a loss. To figure out that loss, we can subtract it by 36, and actually it has the same change. It is a loss of 0.42857, and so these two actually have the exact same change. The reason for it is from the current mean. 36 plus 9 is 45, and 36 minus 9 is 27. Since the distance that both of our numbers that we were taking out, since that distance is the same for both of them, it changes the mean the exact same way. One is increasing, one is decreasing, but it changes it by the same value. All right, let's get into some practice problems. Okay, this is where we get into our actual, I want to know my target mean. Okay, now, do you agree that if we take what we want and we subtract what we have, we can determine what we need? Let's say I want 5 rolls of toilet paper, but currently I only have 2. In order to get what I want, I would need 3 toilet paper rolls. Okay? And so this concept of what we want minus what we have is what we need is going to really be helpful for these problems coming up here. Okay? So, in order to earn an iPod, Anthony must average at least 32 points on his science test scores. Each test is out of 40 points. Anthony's first 7 scores were these values here. With 1 test left, prove if it's possible for Anthony to earn an iPod. If so, what is the lowest score he could get? So we're going to create a table based off of this want, have, and need relationship that we just described. So on the top of our table, we're going to put the value that we want. In the middle, we're going to talk about what we have, and we're going to subtract those two to figure out what we need. So we have taken 7 tests and we have 1 more. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tests total that we will be talking about. Go ahead and create this table along with me. Now, what we want is to get an average of 32 points on all of the test scores. What that means is if we distribute all of the scores evenly, that means that we got 32 on the first test, 32 on the second test, and so on and so forth. An average of 32 means we got 32 on every test. Now, some might be a little lower, some might be a little higher, but we can evenly spread out all the numbers to make it so every single one of them is 32. Okay? Now, like I said, this is not what we actually did. On the first test, we got 35 points. On the second, we got 26, 31 on the third, 33 on the fourth, 34 on the fifth, 36 on the sixth, and 25 on the seventh. We're not sure what we've gotten on our 8th. That is the actual question of today. Okay? We're going to take a look at what we already have and how much we need to make it what we want. We're going to do that by subtraction. So we're going to subtract 32 minus 35. If you do that in your calculator, you're going to get a negative number. 32 minus 35 means we are negative 3. We would need to lose 3 points to get to our 32 that we wanted. 32 minus 26. This one's going to be positive. we would need a positive 6 points. We need 6 more points to make up for that poor score on that second test. Here, 32 minus 31, we need 1 more point to make what we have into what we want. 32 minus 33, we need to lose a point. 32 minus 34, we would need to lose 2 points. 32 minus 36, we'd need to lose 4 points. And 32 minus 25, we would need to gain 7 points to make up for that poor score. And we're not sure exactly what we got on that 8th test, but we need at least 32 on that test. And then any score that we have to make up for from the previous 7 scores, we need to add that on to our goal of 32. So let's take a look. We could just add all these numbers up, but I think that we could do some cancellation. Like if we look at these two numbers, positive 1 minus 1 is 0, so they cancel each other out. Negative 3 and negative 4 together make negative 7. They would cancel out this positive 7. So these two good scores of 36 and 35 make up for that poor score of 25. And so now we look at this plus 6 and this minus 2. Well, in total, we need to make up 4 points on that 8th test to make up for all the other problems that we missed or got right. So in total, we need 32 plus 4 extra points, which is 36 points. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. If Ella scored an average of 88 in her last 5 bowling games, and she wants an average of 90 to qualify for the next round, what does she need to score in her 6th game to move on? So let's take a look at that same table. What we want minus what we have is what we need. So we've scored an average of 88 in the first 5, and we're trying to figure out what the 6th game will look like. So if we average 88, that means that what we have is 88 in each one of these days. We have not done our 6th game yet, okay? But our 6th game needs to make up for the fact that we haven't gotten our average of 90 that we want. We want 90 on each one of our matches to get to the next round. So that means we have to evenly make up for that loss of 2 for each one of the scores. So we need to make up, we need to get 2 extra points for the first game. We need to make up an extra 2 for the second game, an extra 2 for the third, an extra 2 for the fourth, an extra 2 for the fifth. And we have to get that base 90 for that 6th game. So in total, we need to get 92, 94, 96, 98. We need to get 100 points to make up for what we lost in the first 5 games. Now, rather than filling out this entire table here, we can kind of simplify it. Okay? If we look across our wants, if we look at our wants here, all of our wants are the exact same. They're all 90. That's what an average of 90 means. And so a great way to add up the same number a various amount of times is through multiplication. We can take 90 times 6, which was our total amount of games that we're going to play. And essentially, we want a total of 540 points. So far, if we look at what we have, we've scored 88 5 times. That's 440 points. So to get to those totals, I did 90 times 6, because we got 6 90s. That gave me 540. And for what we have, we took 88 and multiplied by 5, which is 440. And if you subtract 540 minus 440, you get 100, which is what we got originally. That is kind of a more simplistic way to look at that problem. It's going to come in handy as we look at this next problem, because this next problem, I would not, it says a team of 14 divers. Nobody wants to make a table of 14 columns, okay? But we do know is a team of 14 divers received an average of 8.6 so far at the state tournament. They have one more diver to go. In order to win state, the average needs to be 8.9. If 10 is the highest possible score, would they be able to win with one more diver? If so, what score would they need? So what we want is with one more diver, so that would be 15 divers, we want an average of 8.9. So I'm going to multiply that by 8.9. 8.9 times 15 gives us, we want a total of 133.5 points. These are the total amount of points. The next person isn't going to get 133.5. What we have so far is we have 14 divers and their average was 8.6. So we can take that 8.6 and multiply by 14. And that's the total amount of points that they've gotten so far. They've gotten 120.4 points. So what we need is the difference between those two. 133.5 minus 120.4 would be 13.1 points. They cannot win state. They would need 13.1 points, but the maximum amount that they could get is 10. All right? Good luck.